This is Tom Meyer, Superintendent of Bellevue Community School District, coming to you with this week's Believe in the Blue update. Have a board meeting updates for you. The comment highlights that are all online at the Bellevue Community School District under District and Superintendent. You can find those there. I'll also be putting those on Facebook after I get off this broadcast, and on Twitter, a link to that as well. But wanted to let you know what happened at the board meetings. I think I mentioned last week that Allison Boniface and Michael Reed were elected to the Bellevue Community School Board. They took their oath of office last night that way. Mike is a returning member, while Allison is a new member this year. So just so you're kind of aware of that. I think they'll both do a great job. We also had elections for president last night of the school board. Kevin Lundeen is going to remain as school board president, and Janet Sieverding will become our new vice president, taking over for Paul Fahey, who did not seek re-election. So congratulations to Kevin and Janet in that regard for their president and vice president. Congratulations to Mike and Allison, and then also our other member there, not up for election this year, was Martha Montgomery Henning, who also does a great job. I'm privileged to work with an outstanding board and want to thank them for their commitment to education and to our students as a whole and getting the most out of their education, and also providing the right funding for our students and our school district to be successful. Some upcoming things here that way, or just some general stuff. Jacob Till is a student representative on the school board. We've been doing that for the last couple of years. Peter Kilberg and Kylie Biederman shared that position last year with several open enrollment requests in that way. Christy Yeager is the new cheerleading sponsor that way. So she's taking over in that regard. Senator Todd Bowman was here last night from Maquoketa. He's our state senator going out to Des Moines, and he talked about a variety of things. They went from IPERS to the ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act legislation, or the document that was sent to the Federal Department of Education that way, about our students and really looking at the growth model that way. We talked about statewide insurance plan, IPERS, all those kind of things. I put some information in the comment highlights for more information on that. We'll also talk about ACT results, and when you look at all of our students that way, our results are lower than the state average. But that's all of our students. Remember, we test every student for free here. When we take our top 60% of our students, we are above the state average for last year's graduating class, and far above it actually for this year's seniors who took it as juniors. So we are doing very well in that regard in many ways. I had a conversation with the Dubuque Telegraph-Herald. They had a letter, or they had an article a couple weekends ago on the ACT results, but did not specify that information correctly. Allison Hinga does a great job at the TH. I talked to it's actually their managing editor, Amy Gilligan, as well. And they understand where we're coming from. They said there should have been an asterisk. They should have explained better what had happened that way and why we do what we do. We do it because we want to make sure our curriculum is hitting all students. We want to measure that. We also want to get a college entrance exam ready for every student. So when they graduate high school, they can go to college. There's not an entrance exam that they still need to take that way. And we overall want to prepare our students very well and see where they're at. So those are just some reasons that we give it. And we also think it's a benefit to all of our students that way. We discussed the facility survey. We had an update on that way. 72% of the respondents believe, of 183 respondents total, 72% believe we need to do something with the current elementary building. 26% were opposed to, 14% were opposed to that, with other people unsure that way. Out of 100 individual responses when they wrote comments to why they said something, 74% of those, these are actually 100 individual comments, 74% of those were in favor of it, 26% were against, and all but 2 of those against talked about the cost and increase in taxes. We will be having more information out about that in the upcoming weeks that way. It will raise taxes if we would do a bond issue that way. One thing Senator Bowman talked about was extending the SAVE tax out till 2050 or some future time. Right now we cannot borrow against that way, and it expires in 2029. So we'll see what happens with that way. We'll give more information about that later, but really pretty minimally, how much is it per month? About $20 per month extra taxes for the common person in the common home here in that regard. But I'll give more information on that at some other later date. You'll see in the paper. We'll also have some community meetings to attend in November and December, October. We'll have 2 or 3 of those community meetings to attend that way. Also, Leggett Architects are going to be here meeting with me and some of our facilities committee members on September 27th at 9 o'clock. On some other notes with facilities, our music room updates, we estimate $20,000 to $30,000 for that. we're going to end up spending right around $20,000. We still have to be charged for the lockers yet, but it's about $20,000 total. The former ICN room, now the Bellevue room, we took out the equipment there. We still offer early morning psychology that way, and they're through a different system, much cheaper system and more effective system at the same time. Estimated cost to improve that room with carpeting. We actually used tables and chairs that we already had. We bought one chair, one table, and a few chairs, but the overall cost there was under $10,000, and we estimated that would be $12,000. So did good there. Also looking at some other improvements that way as well. So those are just some things going on. We're also looking at getting improving our intercom system in a couple rooms in the elementary. A panic buzzer, a police buzzer for our offices that way as well. So we'll kind of have that in line for the future, and we'll give you more facility updates overall, not just elementary, a few things, but overall in the upcoming weeks that way and upcoming months. Just some things we approved last night. Kelly Humphrey is going to be a shared school nurse between the Andrews School District and the Bellevue School District. Title IX coordinator is Jeff Raker, and Section 504 coordinator for accommodations K through 12 in the district is Scott Jess. Those two positions, along with our co-equity coordinators, Jeff Raker and Jeanette Harting-Schrader, are required by the state of Iowa and by federal legislation. And we have an equity visit. They've been here the last couple of days and been happy with what they're seeing overall, happy with our hearing about offering courses in a variety of ways, and had some facility suggestions for us that way. For both, actually for the middle school, high school building specifically, they focus on areas where we have career and technical education programs, that being business, family consumer science, agriculture, and industrial tech. So we have some things to look at there. A final report will be given, a tentative report will be given in the beginning of October, a final report after that date. Modified allowable growth, we will be looking to get some benefit for a special ed deficit we have right now, and I will be applying for that way. Deficit's right around $60,000, which in the grand scheme of things across the state, over 80% of districts are in a special education deficit, and ours is far below many school districts that way, even districts smaller than we are that way. We also approved an instructional program with the Lothar Academy in Maquoketa that way for behavior interventions. Our overall budget that way, too, at the beginning of the meeting, Penny Meetinger talked about we had overspent our budget by $13,000, our new money coming in by $13,000. That is actually very good. We thought we would go over that going into the year. We're looking at $50,000 to $100,000. So only going by $13,000 is a real positive. We had an increase in enrollment that way, and the funding comes that a year late. So we have that money this year. So we feel very positive about where we're at that way. Our spending authority is still very high. Solvency ratio is very high. Those are school finance terms, but ultimately what that means is financially we are in good shape as a district that way. We approved the whole grade sharing agreement again with the Andrew Community School District that we've had for over 6 years now. We did decide to work with a collection agency for fees that are unpaid. They get no money for that unless they collect, and we have not used that agency in the last several years, but it's just something to have on our radar that way. School finance, once again, is based on enrollment, state aid, staffing changes that way, and then the purchases and services that we utilize. That's ultimately what it comes down to, our general fund. We did talk about an early retirement plan. We'll likely be talking about that in the upcoming meetings as well. One other thing we talked about was the weight room coordinator. We talked about having a weight room coordinator. Many districts across the state of Iowa and in our conference and in our area have a weight room coordinator to help coaches develop weight room programs, to supervise programs along with the head coaches, not in place of them, but along with, and to provide some good supervision in weight rooms that way. We are going to post that position at a pay of $1,500 for the entire school year. It's not a lot of money for anybody, but it is an opportunity to earn some more and help out with Early Bird PE and some other programs overall. Also approved to attend the Iowa Association of School Boards. Right now it looks like Mike Reed, Kevin Lundeen, and Allison Boniface are planning on going, and then Allison and Janet Sieverting are planning on going to the board member orientation workshop in Maquoketa on October 19th along with myself. We also approved the IASB, the Iowa Association of School Boards delegate, Kevin Lundeen once again. And he will also serve on the Jackson County Conference Board. Also approved a preliminary approval to attend the National School Board Association Convention, which this board has done for many years in San Antonio this year. What board members want to go, the school district does pay for that. although some things the members pay for on themselves when they get down there, but that is April 7th through 9th. Some other information items. Our enrollment is up roughly about 10 students, with actually butts in the seats, as you would say. When we get into certified enrollment, open enrollment, in, out, all those kind of things, we'll see where we're at. That way we hope to be up. Overall, this is actually one of the larger amount of students we've had in the middle school, high school in several years this year, so that's a real positive. We're going to have a school improvement meeting tonight, but I had many conflicts with people attending, both school members and community members, more than I imagined. Even when I canceled, I got thank yous from people saying thank you, I wasn't going to be able to make it tonight. Another thing that we had here, I shared with the board, we are one of only 45% of school districts across the state of Iowa that did not have a coach or a player ejected last school year. I find that absolutely amazing in high school sports that we have 55% of the school district across the state of Iowa have a student athlete or a coach ejected. We were once again one of those districts that did not have anyone ejected, and that's been going on for several years here that way. Also offered up, there's a board administrator banquet that I will actually be introducing the speaker in my role with the AAA as president of superintendents that way, and that is on October 4th. I offer that up to the board for anyone interested in attending. I mentioned it before, board member orientation workshops that way. Jeanette Hartung Schrader shared about the blue bandana activities and days that they have going at the elementary based on spirit, empathy, and service. Very positive thing that way in helping students recognize others and helping others out at the same time. And then Jeff Raker talked about the new teachers at Adam Smith and Elena Bramer getting off to great starts in both math and Spanish respectively. We have a district pep rally, PK through 12, and a community pep rally, whatever you want to call it. That is on September 29th in the Bellevue Middle School High School gym. If you can come out for that, that is a great, about 45 minutes to an hour long. Introduce all the teams, have some activities, have some competition. It's a great, really a great event for our district. It's the only time throughout the whole year that PK through 12, every student, every staff member comes together that way. So I encourage you to come out to that if you can that way. Mr. Rick talked about the Comet Time, or about 25 minutes during the day where we have MTSS or assistance for struggling students, questions that way of information, some time to study, collaborate with teachers and other students. And then on Fridays, though, that turns into more of a character education program and goal setting and really just character building. And he also gave an update on the activities going on in the school. And a lot of things happening. The fall musical, Into the Woods, is going to be that first weekend in November. I encourage you to come out for that. Mr. Dockham, Mrs. Jorgensen, and Mr. Bakey are working on that right now. Mr. Dockham is the main director for that. Others are assisting. We had a cross-country meet at Bellevue State at the Bellevue Golf Course last night. The Bellevue boys won the meet. And we also had the individual winner in Bellevue boys and girls, with Brady Grable winning for the boys, Cameron Ray winning for the girls. We had other great place finishes as well that way. The cross-country team is ranked second in the state. The boys are. High school football is ranked in the top 7. So just a lot of positive things happening that way. I want to give you one more quick note here from a book called Smart Cuts. And we talk about Tony Wagner, one of the gurus in education, talks about schools and what schools should be. He talked about schools in Finland, and yes, we can't compare population necessarily, but kids there have much more sense that they're going to have to construct their own future. They're taught to be entrepreneurs of their lives. It's not about memorization. Finnish education reflects that. It focuses on teaching students how to think, not what to think, but how to think. That, says Wagner, is a core to making school both interesting and valuable. As the saying attributed to Dr. Seuss goes, it is better to know how to learn than to know. And I just want to stress that here, and we're working to that each and every day. Good book here, Smart Cuts. Pick it up from me if you want to borrow it sometime. Actually, I had someone come in and want to borrow a book just recently. So on that note, it's been less than 15 minutes, so that's a positive that way, but I will let you go. Thanks for your time today.